Remember that passage that I read from the suttas before? Did you notice anger? Good. Did you not notice it? Good. Last thing with anger. Buddha said, hatred does not cease by hatred, but by love alone is it stopped. This is the eternal law. And this is really important for us to remember at this time in our country. Hatred does not cease by more hatred. It's not how you stop it. But remember about controlling our world? I shouldn't be like that. You're wrong, you're bad. I'm very, I hope things go okay in Portland tomorrow. There's a big free speech march, and there's a huge counter march planned, and with people that are quite violent. Hatred does not cease through hatred. This is the eternal law. It doesn't work. It just adds more hatred. Regardless of what side of the political aisle you tend towards, watch your minds in this time in our country. It doesn't help to divide ourselves and hate each other. It just doesn't. These next two are going to be more in the realm of just the formal practice of this, the seated practice, because our energy can be too high or too low. And it gets in the way of settling. So with sleepiness or low energy, name it. Very helpful. Get to know the very first, become an expert on how you get sleepy when you sit. What's the very first signs of body or mind that tell you the energy is starting to plummet? What is it in your experience that tells you that? I can feel it in my chest. It starts to get like dense and heavy. It's just a particular way that my mind will go towards thinking. It's a I can't describe it, but it's a particular way that it does when it's fueled by low energy rather than when it's fueled by like desire or aversion. It'll wander in a certain way. It's like, oh, okay, low energy is starting to happen. And then, you can make some adjustments maybe before you're too far down that path. So get to know what are the very first signs for you that tell you the energy is starting to drop. Become an expert on it. Name it. Oh, sleepiness, low energy. And of course, notice your relationship to it. And this one's interesting because with sleepiness, we can give ourselves a hard time because we're falling asleep and the instructions are be alert, right? So we're getting sleepy and then it's like, oh, and now we've got sleepiness and aversion to the sleepiness. I don't want this. This shouldn't be happening. Oh, I always fall asleep. I can't do this. Doubt. Now we've got doubt. Really watch your relationship to sleepiness. It's just low energy. It's okay. Notice, and this is interesting, notice how pleasant sleepiness is. So instead of getting all like, oh, I don't like this, notice how pleasant it is. Like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, this is kind of nice. And now what you're doing, by doing that, you're bringing a little interest in. You're noticing something about the sleepiness. And that is actually slightly energizing in the mind. You're doing what's called, you're investigating it. You're not just noticing it, you're noticing something about it. Oh, this is pleasant. And you could actually make that pleasantness your meditation object. That's what you could notice. Where do you feel it in the body? Where do you feel that pleasant sleepiness, the energy settling in your body? It's very pleasant. One thing you can do with sleepiness, especially if it feels like kind of, I don't know, gee, I've been getting enough rest, and gee, I haven't been sleepy much in my practice, and now all of a sudden this week, every time I sit down, I'm sleepy. Check and see if there are any difficult emotions that the sleepiness is diverting you from. Let's not feel that. Let's just check out. It's not always what it is, but especially if you're not prone to sleepiness, or if it's kind of just arose, or you can just look and see, wow, is there something that I'm trying not to feel by falling asleep? Then you can also raise the energy, counteract it. Not out of aversion, or you're bad because you're sleepy, just because you'd like to have some more energy so that you could stay present. It's good to have energy. It's good to not be sleepy when we're sitting, yeah? So you can do things to raise the energy. Like, pay more attention to your in-breath, especially if you're meditating with the breath. The in-breath is energizing, yeah? The out-breath is tranquilizing. Pay attention to the in-breath more. Feel how that energizes the body. And when you breathe out, don't pay attention to the out-breath. Stay with the sensations of the in-breath. They're going to be fading because the in-breath is over, but stay with them. Stay with them as they fade. So, and this will keep your attention off the out-breath, which is ah. And you don't want to pay attention to ah when you're sleepy. So, and then the next in-breath comes, be right there for it. Really feel how it enlivens the body. That's a very simple way to raise the energy without doing anything different. You're already breathing, right? If you're paying attention to the breath, you're already paying attention to the breath. Just pay more attention to the in-breath. You can breathe a bit more deeply as well. A little bit more oxygen in the body will bring vitality into the system. Give the mind more to do. You're just with the breath, you're settled. Give it more to do. Breathe in, then feel your left foot. Breathe out, feel your right foot. Then breathe in, feel your left hand. Then breathe out, feel your right hand. Work the mind. Give it more to pay attention to. This will raise the energy. Open your eyes. Light. Energy into the system. Raise your arms over your head like this. This really raises the energy, but it's uncanny how this works. I don't know what the mechanics of it are, but this will alleviate sleepiness. It's amazing. Yeah. Touchdown, right? And then if nothing works and you really don't want to be sleepy, stand up. Stand up and keep your knees unlocked. If you stand up and keep your knees unlocked, you will not fall asleep. Because if your knees are locked, then all your weight can go on your skeletal system. And your muscles can relax. And you can fall asleep standing up. But if your knees are just unlocked, then your muscles are holding the weight, and also they're making adjustments to keep you upright, and all that little movement will keep you awake. Yeah. So if you're sleepy, you're sitting, and you don't want to be, stand up. Sure, 100% foolproof method. Or, and this is an interesting one, fall asleep as mindfully as you can. Yes. But not like as a cop-out. Literally, really see if you can track the mind going unconscious, right to that moment, because once it goes unconscious, then you can't know it, right? But how much can you know as you descend? Yeah, interesting. Try it sometime when you're sleeping, when you're sitting. Pay really close attention. You're not trying to raise the energy. You're letting it happen, but you're trying to be aware. Sayadaw U Pandita, who's another Burmese meditation master, says, Can you know if you fall asleep on an in-breath or an out-breath? Which, it's not necessarily can we do that or not. He's pointing to, can we have that type of bring that kind of attention to the process of falling asleep. So you can work with it in the ways that I said, and you can also try to raise the energy, counteract the sleepiness. Yeah. Not out of aversion, though. Out of skillfulness. Like, oh, it would be good to have more energy. My mindfulness would be stronger. I'm going to talk about restlessness, and then we'll sit with both of them, because it's really just energy. Yeah. Restlessness of the mind or the body. Name it. Again. Oh, this is restlessness. Sit still. So it can be in the body. It can also be in the mind. The mind flittering and dancing from this to that. Not so much driven by desire or aversion, because the mind can move driven by desire. I want this, or aversion. They said that, they're a jerk. Or the mind can just flitter just because it's restless. Just because it's moving. And get to know that. Get to know the difference between the mind moving based on aversion or desire and the mind moving based on restlessness. It's different. It's totally different. You can know it. You can know that difference. So notice if the restlessness is in the body, or if it's in the mind, or both. That's hard when it's both. It's a very unpleasant experience when you're trying to sit and be still. If you notice restlessness in the mind, form a very clear intention to stay with the meditation object, your breath or your body, whatever you're using. Make it very clear. Oh, this is what I'm doing. Cultivate calm. See if you can get the attention to connect with the meditation object and rest there. Not grab it and hold on because you don't want to be restless, but feel the breath, feel the body, see if the attention can rest there. And then have that intention. Let me rest my attention with the primary object. Sometimes that helps with restlessness. Sometimes it makes it worse. You have to see. The opposite of sleepiness, induce calm in the body by paying more attention to the out-breath, the tranquilizing effect of the out-breath. Feel the calm. If there's a gap sometimes there's a gap between the end of the out-breath and the beginning of the in-breath. That is a very calm place. If it's there, be present for it. Really feel the calm that's present there. So induce calm with the breath, with the out-breath. And when you breathe in, just stay with whatever calm that you felt from the out-breath. Don't pay attention to the in-breath. It's too energizing. So, all right, so just the opposite of sleepiness. If the restlessness is in the body, see if you can find a place in your body that's not restless. Is your left earlobe restless? Is your left foot contacting the ground? Is that restless? Maybe it is, but Is your hand resting on your leg? Is that restless? Find a place in your body that's not restless and bring your attention there. That can be helpful sometimes. Sometimes none of this is working, and it can be helpful to change what you're paying attention to from the body or the breath, because sometimes that can just get too, when there's restlessness, the breath is tight in the body, it's like you don't even want to pay attention to them. It just increases the restlessness. When that's the case, drop them and just pay attention to sounds. Like pay attention to sounds right now. Do you notice how relaxing that is? It's kind of like you just open the attention. Oh, they're just floating in and out. The attention's kind of wide and relaxed. It can be very relaxing to just open to sounds. Very helpful with restlessness. Sometimes opening the eyes and or standing up can be helpful with restlessness, especially if it's in the body. I want to sit still. Oh, don't. Stand up. It's like breaking the posture sometimes can be okay. Or opening the eyes. Again, we're not all closed in. It's like, oh, okay. Whew. Remember, all things are impermanent. This restlessness will pass. It must. It's the law. So let's do a little short sit and just notice any excess of energy or any lack of energy. And if so, see if you remember any of these antidotes and bring one or more to bear on it. And if there's not restlessness or there's not sleepiness, know that. Oh, this is what balanced energy feels like. Very simple. Is sleepiness present? Is restlessness present? Last hindrance, the queen or the king of the hindrances, doubt. On the night of the Bodhisattva's enlightenment, sitting under the Bodhi tree, concentrated, present, clearly knowing, Mara sees it and goes, oh, because Mara does not like clarity. Mara wants to confuse and must stop this. So Mara comes at the Buddha with the hindrances, first with desire. Visions of lovely women. Buddha's like, the Bodhisattva's just, nope, not going there. His steadiness was very rock solid. Okay, so desire's not working. Let's try aversion. Let's try fear. Horrific images and being attacked by armies and arrows shotting at him, and the Buddha's loving kindness was so strong that the arrows turned into flowers. Yeah, it's all mythology, right? But it wasn't working. Okay, so aversion, like, nope. So Mara was like, geez, I guess I'll have to pull out my trump card. That's all I got left. Nothing's working. What did he do? Does anyone know the story? No? What right do you have to be sitting there? He tried to instill doubt in the bodhisattva's mind. That's the trump card. This is why doubt is the king or queen of the hindrances. It's powerful. It's powerful. Self-doubt is powerful, powerful. You know, think about it. Think about when you're in the grips of, forget about even Dhamma practice. Think about when you're in the grips of thinking you can't do something, or you're not a good person, or like, there's not a lot possible then, is there? It stops you. It's constricting. It makes us small. I can't learn to play the piano. Then you don't try. You don't, it stops you. Doubt stops. Of all the hindrances, name it, name it, name it. No, pull it up and know it. Oh, this is doubt. Oh, this is doubt. That's all it is. But when we don't know it, we're believing what the story that it's saying. I can't play the piano. We believe it. I can't play the piano, and then we don't take piano lessons. We believe it. And in believing it, then it rules our life. It's not true. You can't play. Anyone can play the piano. You may not play it great, but you can learn, you know. It's not true. Doubt's not, the stories of doubt are not true. And it's so tragic when we believe them. Totally tragic. It keeps us small. If and when you get a sense, or even you see clearly, even have a sense that doubt is present, when you know doubt is present, just don't believe anything that passes through your mind. Doesn't matter what it is, don't believe it until the doubt is gone. Just rotely don't believe it. Doesn't matter what it is, don't believe it. Do not believe what's in your mind when doubt is present. Separate doubt from its content to that it's a mind state. Don't connect with doubt through the content, because you'll just get sucked into the content. I can't play the piano. Forget I can't play the piano. Oh, this is doubt. See what I mean? Don't worry, don't pay attention to the content. Pay attention to the mind state that's present, which is doubt. Tease those two apart. Because when they don't get teased apart, then it's very difficult to work with, because we get sucked into the content and then end up believing the content. It's just a mind state. And this is true for doubt, but this is also true for all the hindrances, and actually very important. Notice when they pass. Notice when doubt clears. It's like coming out of a fog, like coming out of a dream. Like, oh, that was just doubt. Oh, I could pick up the phone right now and make an appointment for a piano lesson. Like, I could do that. Oh, that was... be aware of when doubt passes and what that experience is. And this holds true for all the hindrances. Really important. What's it like when desire passes? What's it like when anger passes? You can know that. You can know it's arising, you can know that it's there, and you can know it, excuse me, you can know when it passes and it not being there. And you can know the difference. Finally, with doubt, you want to become, remember I said become an expert on how sleepiness first feels for you? Well, 10 times over, become an expert on how doubt manifests for you. Because it's different for each of us. All it's a shapeshifter. First it's like this, then it's like this, it's saying that. It comes up in this situation, it comes up in that situation. It's very crafty and sneaky. Get to know every single one of them, so it's kind of like, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. You know, it's like, again, Mara, I see you. It's like, you can't fool me. You can't fool me because I know every single manifestation that you have. And in the seeing is the freedom from it. If we don't see doubt, we're just caught by it and we're just believing whatever the content happens to be. You know, I used a kind of a innocuous, I can't learn the piano. I mean, it gets a lot worse than that. I'm not lovable. I'm not good enough. I'm not a good enough parent. I'm not a good enough sister or brother. I'm not a good enough friend. I'm not a good enough employee. These are all forms of self-doubt. I'm not a good enough son. Could you call your mother more? Perhaps, and that might be a good thing to do, but that's different than I'm not a good enough son. One is discernment, one's judgment, one is self-doubt. So this isn't just about keeping ourselves from playing the piano. This is about dragging ourselves through the mud in the worst way. So these are the 5 hindrances, a little bit about them, a little bit about how to work with them. They're just part of every, not just you, because somehow you're faulty, doubt, but every single person who walks the Eightfold Path works with the hindrances, just because they're forces of nature. Yeah? They're not yours. It's not your fault, but you are responsible for them. What are you going to do with them? They arise frequently. Are you going to know them? Are you going to work with them? Are you going to mitigate their influence on you? That is your responsibility, but don't claim them as yours, because they're not. But they do arise, and so we want to work with them. And when they're arising, these first 2 skills, settling the heart and mind, getting close to experience, really knowing it clearly, they hinder that. They keep that from happening. And that's not good. So we want to really work with them. So next time we'll move on to the 3rd skill of moving away from experience. But I wanted to bring in the hindrances because they're so much part and parcel of getting to be skillful with these 2 first skills. Okay? All right. Thank you.